All right, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. We're back with another podcast. We got Mr. Lucifer Morningstar over here. Welcome, Mr. Lucifer.
Thanks, Marine, and hello, motherfuckers. Haven't done anything with audio for a while.
Yep, good to see you. We're going to have some nice conversations. Be
Yeah.
sure to subscribe to our channels and let's get right into it because this guy here, he likes to debate. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to debate. We're totally okay with like having a conversation with each other and not like it getting crazy. So
Yeah.
anyway, let's go right into it. So give me your top three. And your top two, I'm probably going to agree with. So,
Yeah. Sentry's first because he has less counters than Null. He has more better overall kit than him. His only real advantage is he doesn't have any dedicated supports the way Null has, which is what helps to keep him up with Sentry. Next is Null for obvious reasons. Such a shame Sentry got such a useless T4, unlike Null, who has the 1000% damage. Third, I'll stick Carnage. He pairs with Null, can utilize his main support, and provides extra death and debuff removal to Null, and has a versatile kit. You can give him an egg, he'll be hard to kill, or give him a greed, and he's more effective at one-shotting than Wolverine. That's my top three.
all right. So, Sentry is definitely number one, hands down,
Yeah.
because you can even see in Team Battle Arena, he dominates most nulls, especially if he's built well. He dominates most Wolverines and like any kind of niche team ups. He's very, very difficult to kill. He could be equipped with multiple supports that arguably he doesn't even need. He's that
I tend to
strong.
use him with Ebony more because I have a max roll liberation on him.
Yeah, Ebony Maw is a good support. I've actually been using Blue Marvel with him in TBA. He's actually pretty decent. Um, Pretty surprising choice. But yeah, I think with my recent test, Sentry is definitely number one. And we were right about it for quite a long time. Like, we called it maybe a week after his arrival. It was kind of no debate for me.
Yeah, I was predicting it. I was desperately hoping he would put an end to Null. Unfortunately, he didn't do it the same way Null did to Merged Sentry, but he managed to take back the top spot, which is good enough for me.
Right. And then number two is Null. I think he
Yeah.
overly relies on Agent Venom a lot,
Yeah.
and he has no other alternative. And what sucks also is that Agent Venom needs a 5 to 6 star artifact. If he doesn't have
Yeah.
it, he's going to pretty much act like Colossus. And Colossus is also not good enough as a support either. So,
Yeah, something that people forget to mention is Null is entirely dependent on supports. If you face him in a triple meta or a double meta without Agent Venom, he's often trash and dies quick regardless of builds and struggles to get kills.
yeah, especially in timeline battle for sure. For sure.
Mm.
I've had like Wolverines stronger, or maybe like Silver Surfers that were stronger, even in like a double meta support or whatever. But I'm going to put Silver Surfer in third, and the reason why, you could have debated it maybe 2 months ago that
Mm.
he's not, but because of the new gear that they made, Silver Surfer is now getting like 46-ish% decreased damage received. I've faced a lot of whales in timeline battle, well, more like a couple, and bro, those Silver Surfers are so hard to kill. They're really, really difficult.
I never really have any issues with Surfer. He tends to just spawn, die, revive, get a kill with reflex, and then die again. He just doesn't. He's too many negatives, not enough positives to his kit because of those long cooldowns.
Yeah, it's depending on the build because the build needs to be perfect. If the build
Yeah,
is not
similar
perfect,
to
you're gonna
Adam
struggle.
Warlock.
Yeah.
Similar to Adam Warlock, a max build Adam, you can still consider him top five easily, but anything less than a perfect build, he's just kind of trash.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's because I had to do alternatives with him because I'm never going to get the perfect build. Even if I were to give him Brilliant Conquest, I would have to get the perfect roll on it too, with the gear, with Agent Venom at a perfect 5, 6 star artifact as well. So while it's really
Don't forget the team
difficult,
up.
yeah, right. So with all of that, he's definitely probably better than Carnage, even though they both give debuff removal. Debuff removal is super important in PvP. It's probably the most important stat to have. So it's something that Wolverine doesn't have. However, Wolverine is probably better for me overall than Carnage. So I put him in fourth. So what do you think about that?
I tend to, after the new Sentry unit, it kind of knocked Carnage's abilities down a peg, so I kind of stick Wolverine and Carnage together. The main issue with Wolverine is no self debuff removal. If he had that, he would be so much better than he is.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I called a trending team about 18 months ago when I was putting Supergiant with Wolverine in timeline battle because Wolverine with 20 seconds of debuff removal is actually beating nulls in TBA 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 times, so long as I jack him
Yeah,
up with Colossus too. But he needs those kind of supports to make him on par with like Silver Surfer or something like that. He's very, very close to like that top third spot. And Carnage is right below him in my opinion, but with a complete build for Carnage, Carnage is a complete Wolverine counter, which we don't have a lot of.
yeah, he's also a null counter as well.
Yeah, like especially since I
Especially
jacked him
that,
up with
what is it?
DPS. Yeah,
Especially that brutalized debuff that he has, whatever it's called, where he increases damage received for enemies.
yeah, it's called Panic. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one.
yeah, that's really powerful, and it combines well with DPS. So I'm loving Carnage right now, even on game modes like Timeline Battle where he's not really picked anymore. I think that's also the reason why I put him a little lower on the list.
Yeah, whenever I see someone say, well, why does no one use him? Well, it's because no one did him any justice. It was Commander, me, and maybe you were the only people to give him a good review.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of bad reviews, and I mean, maybe we'll get into it when we're going outside of the top seven because there's two characters that's in that seventh spot that are very, very close, but I'm a little bit biased against the character. So now that we discussed like top five, well, where would you put fourth and fifth spot actually?
Well, I stick Carnage and Wolverine together, so that's already been talked about. So I'll probably have to go for fifth and sixth, which is where I put Silver Surfer, and after him is Adam Warlock. Since no one really below Adam is worth going above him. Silver Surfer, too long cooldowns, not enough heal, too low penetration. Well, not low, just doesn't last long enough. He's a bit too iffy.
Right. So let's talk about Adam Warlock because I put Adam Warlock somewhere in sixth place. I think that's not too far off from you, but
Yeah,
yeah, he could really do well with DPS. But just like Silver Surfer, if you want to put him with Conquest, he needs to be perfect. Otherwise, he's not going to work with it.
yeah. I've had him with refinement a couple of times. It's a lot of fun. You just can't expect to take on any leaderboard teams.
Yeah, that was the CTP that people used to rock on him when he first arrived. It's not terrible. I mean, Adam is always going to have value in PvP no matter what, but it depends on like where you put him. He's going to be limited in certain areas, but if you have fun, man. You know,
Yeah, stick him with Sue Storm and Magic in TBA, and it
did
deals with
that.
nulls a lot
Yeah,
of the time.
yeah, yeah. Did that. That's a good tack. I stick him. I also stick him with Carnage and Spider Man. That was a decent tack. Um,
I'm planning to get Kahori built because she provides 100%
right.
damage increase against those with debuff removal, and use Molecule Man lead on top of that. Unless Null's got Agent Venom, he's generally going to be fucked with that team.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that Molecule Man and Kahori are getting a shout out and they're getting picked more in TBA. I'm seeing them in TBA a lot more, so that's good.
Yeah,
All right, let's go on to lucky number seven then. So I think that number seven is Apocalypse, and I think he's better than
yeah,
Deadpool, and I think he honestly has a complete kit other than the fact that he's like stiff, you know.
yeah.
So you have to combine his skills to kind of get the best out of him, but he is the definition of a debuff master, and he has everything compared to Deadpool in spades, in my opinion.
Yeah, my only issue with him is that he struggles to heal on autoplay. He tends to avoid that skill. He's only got it on one, which is kind of an issue.
Yeah, the heal, and also sometimes he doesn't have the DPS, sometimes he does. You know, I have him with a proc, so sometimes his damage is fluctuating a little bit, but I
Mm.
like him honestly with a proc.
Yeah, I've got my Macro Almighty Conquest on him. He does good as a surfer counter a lot of the time, so stuck him at the back of CBA.
Yeah, he is a fair surfer counter. He's a fair Wolverine counter. Also, he could sometimes um, like kind of negate his fifth skill a little bit. He's a good
Mm.
counter against blasts, like his blast like counterparts. Like I've seen him kill Magic. I've seen him even kill Madeline Pryor. Guy's a beast, honestly.
Mm.
Um, you want to keep going down the list?
Could maybe go to top 10, although I wouldn't put Deadpool in seventh, as we've tried to argue with many people before. He just can't kill with Conk, can't survive with Greed, has no balance between survivability and offense, and he's generally just there to be a bullet sponge a lot of the time. He just hasn't got the full kit to be utilized. He's severely overrated on release.
So I'm generously putting him in eighth just because I understand like the top level Deadpool can be kind of a pest. But Deadpool's missing so much. He's missing super guard break immunity. He's missing any kind of debuffs. He only has debuffs on one skill. He's missing damage if you give him conquest, like a lot of damage. So he has a
Three
lot of
minutes to kill
flaws.
Adam Warlock on autoplay. That was embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can't even kill them. Yeah, you're right. It's like 50-50. Sometimes you gotta flip a coin. You gotta jack him up with supports or something. I just might as well use him as a support. He becomes one of the best supports for me personally, but of course, like, people would want to use him for, like, the auto modes.
Yeah, especially when his lead was bugged, which almost no one mentioned or pointed out.
Yeah, his bro. I was using his lead for like 4 or 5 months, and then they
Mm.
finally fixed it, and they made the character worse. They didn't even need to do that, but whatever. Waste of time.
Yeah, I'd stick either Magic or Madeline Pry in seventh, just because even though she fell out of meta very quickly, Pry is still deadly, and her stun lock in TBA is mental. Also, because she has a couple mind damage skills and a lot of iframe, she can avoid reflect pretty well. Magic, well, I mean, regardless of what build you give her, she can counter null. Her issue is just consistency in doing it. Because if she gets guard broken before she can counter, she's pretty much fucked.
Yeah, Magic has a couple of issues. I just try to jack up her damage as much as I can, but I've seen her get like a lot of different kills and a lot of different meta, but counter's not going to activate right away. It's going to activate after immortality. So the more immortality you have on her, the better she's going to perform. So my 4-star magic artifact is just not doing enough in the auto modes. She needs like 7 seconds, you know?
Yeah, which is why I preferred off on her because it allowed her to survive. The issue is she became less consistent at killing. You either have to have a 6-star artifact or you have to decide between consistency or surviving to do more counters, but not guaranteeing any kills.
Right. So I would put magic maybe slightly above Madeline Pryor. So this is where we're like disagreeing a little bit because you
Yeah,
want to
I would
put.
stick Magic a little below Prior purely because Prior is more consistent
Okay, so
and
you.
also has a bit more build versatility because you can use Greed, Refinement, or Conquest, or even Authority on her.
True, true. So would you say that Madeline Pryor is better than Apocalypse?
Uh, nah, because I've seen Prior struggle with Carnages.
Oh, really?
APOC, on the other hand, he can be an absolute menace, especially if you stick him at the back of the world.
Yeah, yeah. When you put him last in Otherworld, yeah, absolutely. He does take down a lot of tunes. Yeah, I would maybe consider what you're saying. I may put Madeline Pryor higher, and I'm actually thinking of building her myself because I think she could kill more efficiently than Deadpool and maybe even Magic with some DPS. But of course, I'd have to test her with Greed or some type of DPS CTP.
Yeah, I just got Rachel Summers artifact, so I'm considering getting her as well. And based off everything I've seen, I would stick her below APOC, but above Deadpool because she's just overall more consistent at what she does.
Right. I may consider that. So right now my list is Apocalypse, then Deadpool, well, I'm generous, and then Magic, and then Madeline Pryor. Because Madeline Pryor is kind of expensive, for her niche value.
Yeah, 12.12 thousand crystals isn't something anyone can shell out. I even almost got close to it until Surfer dropped and made her irrelevant in timeline. The only
Ha,
reason I don't have her right now.
true. Yeah, she kind of did drop a little bit, but they made these new game modes so she has more relevance for at least a short period of time before she gets a uniform. You know, maybe like, Spider Man could have a little shout out, but Spider Man's becoming like inconsistent, you know?
I gave him Mighty Conquest just for shits and giggles, and he did pretty good. He almost got me onto the Overworld leaderboard. Got me a new high of about 4,300 something points. So, not too bad, but he's kind of situational.
Yeah, sometimes he'll get clobbered out of nowhere, and then sometimes he'll sweep the board, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably stick Quicksilver in 10th, just because I've seen him work wonders, even with like a fucking obelisk.
Quicksilver is something else, man. I have him with Rage, and I just love him for manual. But maybe I'm thinking about putting some type of defense on him. Like I was thinking Conquest, because he's a debuff master.
And I have issues with him in Otherworld when he's stuck in last place because he tends to just one shot whoever's left.
He's either good as a starter or a finisher in Otherworld Battle, and he will get the kills, but he'll be killed right after his fourth skill unless he's kind of in a
Mm.
corner. So
He's similar. If you get him at a range out of range of the AoEs when he spawns, he'll get a one shot in before dying, but if he spawns into the AoE, he'll die before he gets to kill.
yeah, yeah, that's kind of an issue with him. I see. Yeah. We did agree on a lot of that list actually,
Yeah,
but it's always Deadpool. Like all roads lead to Deadpool. Like where do you
yeah,
put him? you know.
yeah. The three-person argument against death proofs about whether he's meta or not. The only sentry he managed to beat on autoplay with him was a Judgment one with no HP and no Pierce, and he still thought he was meta. Oh, that's gonna stick with me for a while.
Uh, I mean, that's the thing about the community is that they have a set standard for a character and they'll call that character meta just because it's their preference and he has good performances against some niche meta, you know. But there's no standards in this game in a way. Like nobody's done a tier list before. Nobody's done like a breakdown of a top 10, top 15 list in detail.
The Cynic Alex lists, which are just abysmal, like when he took Jean Grey off the Rage CTP list, replaced her with the Hero Uni Doctor Strange, and stuck her on the Greed list on the very same update that she fell out of PvP meta because Silver Surfer returned and she can't do anything against Reflect. His excuse was more people will want her to survive the Reflect, when that's just not possible. She has no iframes.
Cynic Alex lists, I don't even look at them. I've never watched a Cynic Alex tier list in my life. I've maybe glanced through maybe one or two, maybe back in the day when I was starting out, but I've heard a lot of disapproval from a lot of people over his lists.
Yeah. Other than noobs who don't know better and the biased bootlickers who defend him with their lives, there's literally no one I've seen who agree with him.
Yeah, I mean everybody's always got something to say about him. I try to say as little as I can because I just try to do my own thing. I do PvP, you know, but
And I go out of my way to completely discredit every word he says.
well, that's I mean, listen, somebody's got to do it, you know, because listen,
Mm.
people spend money on this game, man. Like you want to be careful with like what you invest in and who you give to who in terms of like gear and CTPs and things like that.
Yeah, and we can't forget the very excuse he made for half-assing his videos, saying like, "You don't go to work and give it your all," something like that. He said.
You know, when you go to work, do you go and you go and be a perfect 10 out of 10 every single day? I mean, physically, nah, maybe not, but you would want to. Like that should be the attitude that you should have, you know, because people count on you, you know.
Yeah, you should at least try. Meanwhile, he deliberately half-asses it on the so that he can make as many as possible, changing his opinion in every video for the sole purpose of making money off it. I do this because I get paid from this children's game, was his excuse for that.
Yeah, you see, people don't know, like, behind the scenes how Alex treats people who try to criticize him or go against what he's saying, you know, and then he just gets his mob to kind of argue on his behalf.
Yeah, I had to block those when I confronted him because they were just spamming unnecessarily. He hides behind them and is incapable of providing any real arguments. Also, when he personally attacked you when he came across you in timeline as well, he was talking shit.
Yeah, I mean, with that kind of shit, I just, you know, I gave a simple kind of response. It was really like 2 minutes. And then I just talked about how I could save the characters. Like, because where the fuck is Daredevil and Punisher going to work? You know, they're not going
Mm.
to tell you. These content creators, you know, some of them get very arrogant about their base because they have so many subscribers and they take advantage of that and they're ungrateful for it. Like I'm so grateful to have fans, you know. Cynic Alex is not, and it's kind of sad.
I've never asked for any subs. I just mentioned that they're appreciated, and I've managed to gain about 263, something like that. And I know a lot of them did come from a shit post I made for Avengers Endgame. But the ones that I did earn from the gaming stuff, I always appreciate those because, I mean, I do it for them and because it's fun.
Yeah, and the community is very, very fractured. So we can definitely
Yeah,
talk a little bit about that, and maybe we have
yeah,
some
the
stories
community
to
is a
share.
shithole.
We can definitely talk a little bit about the forums too, and things like that.
Yeah, the war zone, I call it. Literally every single post, someone asking for help, I'd go and I'd respond to every comment that maybe got something a little off. I'd be a bit nicer, although that has also kind of gone down the drain because no one, there's only a really handful of people in forums that are nice now. It's so I just don't see any reason to be nice to the ones who aren't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure for you it's a lot more entertaining to like, go at it with some people. Some of them deserve it anyway.
Yeah, yeah, and the free bumps from the back and forth.
There's an interesting little problem with the
Mm,
community. And the community is very, very fractured because for PvE, right, people have a
yep,
general consensus about what's what, and people don't really argue against it. For
yeah,
PvP, everything is kind of out of the blue. Like, I've seen people say, like, this CTP works and it's super niche and whatnot, and it depends on the person's build. But I mean, the forums is one part of the community, and then you've got Discord servers that are part of multiple different communities. How would you feel that your experience with the community has been?
Uh, well, I mean, pretty sure everyone knows the answer to this, but I spend most of my life dealing with the assholes on the community. Pretty much everywhere besides from Malkoff's server and my own, and the Alliance one that I'm currently in. Uh, Community is an absolute disgrace. I mean, the only other game community I can think is worse would be Genshin's, but that's another barrel of worms I don't want to get into.
You got these servers, and then they accept pretty much anyone. I would think. I mean, it's pretty easy to get into these servers, and then they end up coming in like an angry mob. Some of them.
Yeah, yeah, you say one thing that one of them doesn't agree with, they will go and grab someone else to back them up, even if what you're saying is right. If they don't like you, they will work their way to gang up on you.
Yeah, the thing is that people know that there is a strength in numbers. When you gang up on somebody, they feel ashamed of what they're doing because, you have the backup and they don't. So then they start to maybe reflect and look. But if they have a mob backing them up, they can get away with basically anything they say, even if it's wrong. And if they don't like you, they're just going to frame
Yeah,
what you say. And what's crazy is that people also screenshot everything all the time. So the
yeah,
forums and Channel 2 is very notorious for having a very, very toxic community. Channel 2 has a problem with like P3DOs, if I can't say it, for YouTube reasons. It's a disgrace because there's no monetization. So they can get banned every day and they'll still come back and do the same shit. The forums, there's problem with alts, there's problems with like
doctors.
yeah, pornography, like so many issues, Lucy. You already know them.
Yep. NS Gaming, that's the one.
Anas Gaming was a very controversial figure because he
Yeah.
scammed people with his coupon codes. You're not supposed to sell them in a way. You're not supposed to give like an exchange for them. You're supposed to give them out randomly. You're not supposed to bribe potential subscribers into subscribing with it. That is against the rules, whatever the rules may be. And that was the only way I would say the forums community got a W, because a lot of the forums community united to get Anas Gaming off the forums.
Yeah, and he wasn't even guaranteeing anything. He was asking people to buy his YouTube membership for the chance to win a coupon. He wasn't guaranteeing anything. And yet he was telling people to make outs, spam the forum. He was doing it himself as well. He made multiple fake quote unquote apologies where he was blaming his viewers and not taking any accountability as well.
Yep. And he got a lot of public backlash for it, especially with all the Indian guys there that were freaking cursing at him in their language, bro. It was kind of funny. I've seen doxing happen on the forums. It's a
There
very
was
big
one
problem.
in particular who threatened to dox you as well, who only vanished because a good buddy of ours exposed him, so he basically quit altogether.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we've all worked together to try to make the forums a better place. We've allowed free speech to happen. We haven't
Yep.
made a bunch of alts. I've never made an alternate account ever in my life.
Mm.
I try to post game related content. You try to post game related content, but the toxicity can't seem to leave the forums. What do you think can change, or maybe Netmarble may have to change in order to maybe fix this problem?
Well, they simply just have to get some staff or even actual players who have good track records to moderate the forums. They've not even interacted with the forums outside of making posts in years. They used to actually comment on people's posts even if they weren't tagged. So that just shows that they stopped giving a rat's ass about it entirely.
Yeah, years ago they stopped moderation because CM Fragment used to moderate. I don't know what happened that had him stop moderating. Maybe Netmarble stopped paying him. Who knows,
Mm.
right? But
Yeah.
basically, since then, they added a block feature, which has been hit and miss at best.
Yeah,
But
it's pretty useless if you can still see a person's message. Block should go both ways. It should block the user and the person you're blocking, so they can't see you, you can't see them.
yeah, that would actually be a very good feature. Not gonna lie, I never even thought about that.
Having the option to see what someone you've blocked says is always very tempting, no matter what you're doing or who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking with my buddy Tad, and he was saying that there's a lot of features that Netmarble could add that are actually very, very easy to implement. Like they're not
Mm.
very difficult at all.
They used to actually try with the community, but now they're basically about nothing but money, trying to milk as many players as they can before the game eventually shuts down.
Yeah, it's like the forums is supposed to be like a place where you can get good information, and we're also getting people who are deliberately posting misinformation as a way
Yeah,
to,
Druid.
yeah, like as a way to like get the community, like some parts of the community off track, because we're trying to, like, the game's trying to get new players. There's a lot of content creators that are not informing their audience very well. And I mean, we've had Anas Gaming do it. We were talking about Cynic Alex doing it before.
Yeah, I mean, there's also Beast Mode. Although he's not exactly bad, he's just a bit too inconsistent. Overrates makes bad things, underrates good things. He does have his moments, but they're very few.
It's just another person that I don't really watch at all. He gave
Mm.
me a shout out so long ago. It seemed like
Mm.
6, 7 years ago. But since then, the game has kind of moved on from timeline battle a little bit. I think that they may end up removing the game mode altogether. I'm kind of scared that they may do that.
Yeah, if they do that, I've got no real reason to play anymore because that's the only mode I enjoy. But even that's gone stale for me. I'm doing autoplay now. Unless I want to make content for that day, I'll just auto it. Can't be asked.
Yeah, and then getting back to the community and like the forums and all that. I mean, the game is so dry these days that people would
Yeah,
rather talk shit on channel 2 or talk shit on forums and like prey on the downfall of this game rather than actually playing the game.
yeah. I'll tend to use Channel 2 just to help out any noobs or other players who seek help, and then I'll use forums to talk shit because that's where most of the trolls are. And you can use images as well, so it's a lot more fun to mock them with.
What part of the community would you say is maybe like a little bit less toxic?
Depends because Discord, it depends on what server you're in. Because there's Alex's one, which is an absolute shithole. They basically crucified the King in Black Venom for no reason. They just absolutely hated it. You get ones like Malkos, which are good. It keeps trolls out and whatnot. In game, it depends who's on. Channel 2 is often a hellhole. Channel 1 is usually Indians spamming death threats at each other. And forums is, well, self explanatory.
Yeah, I mean, other than Alliance chat, if you get into like a good Alliance chat, there's really
Mm,
no community in the game that you can go to that's not toxic to some degree. You know,
mm,
maybe like Malkoth's server, like you said. Maybe if you want to
mm.
shout out your server, like Dark Avengers, I
Yeah,
think.
most of the Dark Avengers is mostly just a few posts now and then, but trying to get it more active and expanding the stuff that I do with it. I've added some more channels for Punishing Grey Raven because I do plan to make more content on that game. Underappreciated and deserves more attention than it does.
All right, everyone. Due to some technical difficulties, we will be releasing part 2 of the MFF radio podcast in another day. So stay tuned for that. Catch you guys in the next one.